All right, what's up, guys? I hope you are enjoying the book of 1 Timothy as much as I am. Welcome to Rev 1211 Life, and we are going to continue. We're going to be moving into verses 8 through 11 today in chapter 1. And this is still Paul giving Timothy, the young pastor in Ephesus, a charge on what to guard against as he ministers to the city and the church of Ephesus. So he goes on to say, now we know that the law is good if one uses it lawfully. Understanding this, that the law is not laid down for the just, but for the lawless and disobedient, for the ungodly and sinners, for the unholy and profane, for those who strike their fathers and mothers, for murderers, the sexual immoral, men who practice homosexuality, enslavers, liars, perjurers, and whatever else is contrary to sound doctrine, in accordance with the gospel of the glory of the blessed God with which I have been entrusted. Now, that's a long list of items that the law is for, which is for the disobedient and for the sinners, which is fine. So Paul is talking, he said he reminds Timothy of the law and its purpose. He's reminded that the law is good when it's used correctly. And that's kind of like our day today. It's good when it's used correctly and not when it's used against people and distorting the gospel. The people there in Ephesus were beginning to add or subtract from the gospel. They were coming up with things that would distract people from the actual gospel of God to get them off track. So he's just reminding him of that. And Timothy's reminded that the law was not intended for those who do right. It's for people who are lawless. Of course, which I am one of those. So for more that means is that the gospel, and I want you to remember this, the gospel is not the law. And the law is not the gospel, although they're both very useful. So, who are the lawless? You know, and there's a list of them we just read. One of them is homosexuality, and since that's a hot topic, hot button for our society, I'll touch on that briefly, just briefly today. So, please know that I'm not saying that one sin is worse than another. I'm simply speaking on this one, all right? Because there's some people that try to legitimize the alternative lifestyle. Even some Christians say people have a right to choose their sexual preference. And to be clear, I just straight up says, both in the Old and the New Testament, homosexuality is a sin. And I just want to be clear about that. However, as believers, we got to be careful not to condemn the sin, just like any sin, but not to condemn the person, because Christ, when we came to Him as believers in our sin, He did not condemn us. We were forgiven and we were saved and born again. So just like every other sin, people who live an alternative lifestyle, they can be forgiven. And their lives can be transformed, just like yours. So as the church, as the body, I'm just going to encourage us that we be a haven of forgiveness and healing for repentant homosexuals without compromising the Bible, its stance, and what it says against homosexual behavior. And I'll be clear again, homosexuality is no different than any other of the sexual sins. It's no different than a man having a physical, adultery, a married man having an adulterous affair with a woman, or a single man and women just having sex outside of marriage. It's all sexual sin, and we can all be forgiven for that. So just be clear as you deal with people that are dealing with the homosexuality, to deal with the issue. God still loves the person. So should we. So God bless you. Take care until next time. We'll be moving on about identifying who we are as sinners. Paul being the worst of all of them. Take care. God bless you.